All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Wisdom with Him. I'm your host, Samir, and I'm really looking forward to diving deep with you here today. I have a very good friend of mine, Aron Der Friedvolle Krieger, and we met spontaneously here in Capos, Costa Rica, in the local coffee shop. And immediately we had a connection, and there was an understanding that we're coming from two different backgrounds, two different worlds, but yet a very parallel journey. And so interesting when you actually tune into life, how life starts speaking to you. Aron is a med school student right now. He's a YouTuber. He's gone through an amazing journey in these last 2 years, and now he's really working to share and empower people through questioning about the nature of who they are and the truth about who we are as consciousness. And I'm very excited to have you here today as a guest, Aron. So thank you for being here with us.
I thank you, man. It's such a pleasure to be here. I will try to speak my best English. So it's for me, it's so special to be here at this place, to meet so many new people and to get out of your comfort zone, because we people stuck every time in this, and it's so important that we get with the energy and we free ourselves, and the fear is in this time very big, a very large topic, but the fear is only the guideline in which direction we want to move. And so I'm very glad to be here, and that we can share this message to the world of the oneness, and that we're all waking up all over the planet.
Yeah, and I think you said it exactly, like we're all kind of waking up right now. And I think since the pandemic, it's been such a massive shift for everybody. No one has been able to sit on the sidelines. Everyone has to make a choice. And that's really a choice on how you navigate fear and how you actually deal with life when it gives you an obstacle that's bigger than you. Yeah, right. And I think for myself, I think yourself included, we've gone through a deeper journey of inquiry into the nature of who we are over these last 2.5 years, which led us to actually booking a trip to come to Costa Rica, and how spontaneously we connected. I think there's some magic in that.
Yeah. But I think this you can see like people all over the world directly in the eyes, because you watch someone and you can feel their energy. Yeah. And most of the time, if you are meeting new people, you can see that the energy is sometimes you feel less energy after speaking to them, and then you can see, okay, maybe I'm wrong, because those people give me the feedback that I have to change, because they don't give me the feedback I want to have. But I saw you just speaking to a bartender, and I can feel the energy directly in your eyes, in your soul. And this is one thing I have recognized all over the world since 1 year, that in every human is the same soul, is the same spirit, and you must only to activate it, and you don't speak with the ego or with the personality or with the mask. So you have to discover what is under the mask, because the mask is we everyone are so every one of us are wearing a mask. Okay, but under this there is so much truth, and we can see the energy directly in the other person.
Yeah, really well said. It's the energy that the other person is a mirror for you. And what I noticed too, immediately as I saw you in the coffee shop, I was like, this guy has such a high, good energy. And we were sitting across from each other, and you know, it was very coincidental, that specific moment, because I had left the house that day after kind of getting in my own mind for a little bit, being like, let me go change it up and go to the gym. So I walked all the way to the gym, 15-minute walk to the gym, only to find that the gym was closed. And then I come back, and I'm making my way, taking my time. And this is the thing about life and timing, is you can't miss the moments even if you try. Sometimes you think you need to control and have everything happen according to your plan and the way your mind sees it. But sometimes just showing up, life guides you perfectly, like you're chilling on a lazy river, takes you from point A to point B. And so I came from the gym, and I was going to go to another coffee shop, and it was closed. And that's when you know this thing was meant to happen in the way it did, because I walked into my favorite coffee shop, T-Nation, and that's where I see Aron sitting there. He's doing something on his computer, and you know, energy speaks louder than words. And so you could just see it stood out for me. And I immediately, like you said, I talked to the barista, and then I sat down, and rather than just putting my headphones in and getting absorbed in my phone or just shifting my attention, Aron just reached out, and he just said, hey, like, you speak good English. Yeah, and from that moment, I felt the immediate connection, and we just started dialoguing immediately and really realizing this factor of when someone who is in tune with themselves, they are actually able to see their own reflection in the other person beautifully, brightly, and strongly and powerfully. And when I saw you, Aaron, it was like one of those moments where I'm like, I feel like I've known this guy, even though this is the first interaction I'm having with him. And we started just talking and really just kind of as if we were just picking up where we left off. And that was a real clear sign for both of us. And then obviously when we exchanged information, we started to realize we've been on a parallel journey, you know? And that's why I was so excited. I was like, I'm doing the podcast. I would love to have you come down, sit, and let's just talk a little bit and really kind of go deeper on some of these concepts that we've talked off of mic. And that's what I'm here to do today with you, my guy.
But man, this did only happen because you stay in your good energy. Because you could also say like, okay, the gym was closed, but you have so many effort to go there. It was your plan, and so you're now so disappointed, and so you are able to feel very bad, and you don't want, because this day now is very bad because somebody destroyed all your plans. But it was like yourself, because you didn't search on Google. Like, okay, I don't know if you're in Costa Rica, the Google is so good. That's information there. Actually, it's so true. But
it was funny because that day there was a holiday, so I didn't take that into account. So they were closed. But
maybe you could ask days before or something like this. So every action you have in your life depends on yourself, and that is so important that you take the responsibility that everything happened is your own fault, and the bad one and also the good one. But we people every time say the good one, that I have made very good one, but the bad one, okay, that every other person is fault, that I don't get the new job, the new girlfriend, and all those things. So you have every time say this person is the reason why I don't get this. But then you can change anything. And I think since the last 2 years it was so big because you are not responsible for your health. But if you go to McDonald's, I also go there, but I like some vegan things, or I don't know, the vegan thing is also not very healthy there because it's like so many additional things in there. But if you are healthy, if you are good at sports, it's all your own reason that you are able to do this. And so it's so good because then we are sitting at a coffee and you was with good energy, because say it's just the way it is. But if you were sitting there very bad, you would say, okay, this is bad energy now, and I don't see you then. I only see you because you just stay in your energy. Say everything is fine the way it is. When the gym is closed, it makes sense. But you don't know that 20 minutes later you will meet me, and we see the directly connection, and we see, fuck, all over the world the humans are waking up, and we see that we are all one. Because you stay in your good energy. And it's so important.
And I think you're on point with that. Learning to actually stay in your own energy. That's been work for me. That's been me learning to not take as seriously the expectations that I've created in my mind, or the ideas that I've held that say, this would make me happy today if I do this, this, and this. And if that doesn't happen, I'm actually more angry it didn't fulfill my mind's expectation.
But it's hard, you know?
And that's it's difficult. And what you start to realize, and Costa Rica really makes it more clear because you're out of your own comfort zone, you're familiar, but you realize you have to just be okay going with the next moment and being okay to follow the flow. And sometimes the flow will pull you out of the idea your mind has for you of what the day looks like, the week looks like, the month. But the flow is fundamentally guided towards your own expansion and well-being. And as you go inwards, you start to realize more and more it's an inside-out game. If I take care of me inside, that accountability factor you mentioned, take full ownership over all my actions and all the outcomes, all of a sudden I start to see life very differently. I start to recognize that life is not working against me. It's working directly for me, through me, by me, as me. And you realize the connection with life is immediate and always. And that's what I've discovered. And in this journey, and in Costa Rica, there's been so many magical moments, but our connection was really unique because this is, I think, our second day actually dialoguing. And even before this, we spent time together, and as we were talking, we were just speaking, going so deep because there was no resistance in either of us in how deep we wanted to go. And that was something, again, it's a rare find when you have that. But when you do, you're like, wicked, let's go and talk more and let's go deeper into the conversation, you know? And so that leads me to asking you, how did you get into this journey? How did you get to this moment today? And I know that's a big question, but tell me a little bit about what you've learned about yourself over these last 2.5 years and what changed and what's inspired you to show up this way.
This is the biggest question I think all of the world, the humans who are waking up, is a question themselves, because we don't really know, but something I think is different between us and the rest of the humanity, because in Germany it's like 1 or 2% are very spiritual, waking up and say we have to get a new world, not like George Orwell or something like this, just a new world where every human being is very connected to each other, and you see the other person not as the enemy. You have to win, you have to be you have to make profit from the other person. No, it's just like you and me are one. And if you see this truth, you want that the other person is very well. So for me, it's like my whole life I knew that something in the world is wrong, and that we are in a big lie, and everything is not the way it seems, and that I can understand, because I always know the real truth in myself, that I am not the outside, I am not my personality, I'm in the inside, and I was a child, and I think the grown people in the TV, on the news speaking, are so different, because they act like they are robots, like they are wearing a mask, but I think maybe when they are at home they must be really different, or when they lying in the bed in the evening, say, okay, I am not this news speaking man, I am me, I am a little boy inside me. So I check all the time that I am not my body, I am not my brain, I am not my thought, I am not my gender. Okay, the gender thing come very late, I think, but I am the inside, and with the outside I am be connected. And I think many people like me with a broken heart or broken brain, because I have so many troubles in my life growing up, and these troubles and this makes me stronger in the afterwards, but when it's happened it was very hard to get through it. So for me, my whole life I knew that we are living in a world where everything is not like it seems, and we have to change something. We have to change the world, because we need a better world.
And so that journey, like in knowing that you, like the fact that you had that awareness from early on that you weren't your body, your thoughts, that in and of itself, it points to the fact that you had this deep underlying knowing, and then reality wasn't matching up with what you knew about you, and that was your direct experience. And then there was this understanding that something had to change. So tell me, what was the journey over these last 2 years that have led you to creating the YouTube channel, and tell me a bit about that.
The last years was so special for my life, because I created myself a complete new way. So I was, every time in my life was changing between to get what the society wants from me and what I really want in my own. But every time I accepted the society and I do the way they want me to be, I was disappointed and I was feeling very bad inside. But then I had no anger with the teachers and all these things. So I have less problems in the outside, but many problems inside in myself. So like depression, like all these things. And then the last 2 years I was recognized that every information we get from the outside is for our inside make a big change. So if you get information, for instance, some people who would say I like to eat meat, they say it's no problem, because they do it every day and their whole life, and the humans for every time they did eat meat. But the vegan person would say, oh, you're an animal killer, how you can do this and all these things. And both people are right in a little bit way, because they have information, and the information is directly in your consciousness, and So it's so important which information you have. And the last 2 years I was seeing that information from the news, from the TV, from our political men and women is so special for our thinking. And I see, okay, maybe we are living in a world where there is no real truth. So the truth, so everyone is living in a different reality. Like you see on the mask, somebody, not like Elon Musk, but on the mask. So I also find it very good that Elon Musk buy Twitter. I also like this because Elon Musk, I think it's a very good guy. So I don't know really, but when Bill Gates can buy the WHO, I think it's okay that Elon Musk buys Twitter. So for the free speech, because I don't know, if you ban a president or something like this, you have really much power. So okay, so I don't know, but everyone lives in a different reality, and that's okay. So your information get your reality, and I think when everyone has this, I can have this too. So it's a hard way, because you know directly when you are a very empathic human, you know directly the thought of the other person, and this can stop you because it's come directly in your brain, and then you have the chance, okay, I want to make this decision or not, but then you can say, okay, I am able to live my own dream, and this is okay. And so I started everything I want ever do, like YouTube, like going to speak for 1,000 people. All my life I have the fear. The fear was the biggest enemy in my life, but it's not enemy. It's a guideline where you want to go. Like standing for 10,000 people and you have a speech. This was my dream every time. So last time I was on the plane and I was remembering, as I was a child, I remember when the pilot makes some speaking, hey, we are landing there, and I think, oh, I want to do this too, but I'm not able to speak because my whole life I can speak because I was so big in stuttering. So it's in English a little bit more problem. In German I can speak very fluently, but English it's a little bit more harder. Yes, okay. So I was thinking, man, no, you're 20 years later, then you was a child, and now you can speak. So the fear that you want to be a pilot, now you can. It's no problem for me to speak, hello ladies and gentlemen, we are now landing in this place. But this all my life was, I cannot be this person because I have this fear for speaking for other people, and they say, oh, you're bad, you're this. So the fear that was other people's things stops me my whole life. Not every time, but it was just a step inside the matrix and out, inside out.
And so how did you break that and step through the fear?
To know that the fear is not real. So the fear is just a program from the matrix to awakening that is a guideline in the direction you really want to go. So, and the fear is only because I study also medicine. I have learned that the fear is like a road in your brain, and every time you use this road, the road gets stronger. And in the strong road directly connects in your consciousness and said to you what you have to do. And so you're in a dream, but you don't realize in this moment when the fear comes over you, you don't realize that it's not you. So it is you, but it's a road, it's a memory where you was a child, and this memory directly connected to this actual moment. And so you have to know this, but that's the one thing. And then you have to practice, and you have to do it every time. And you have to accept that you go like down and down and up and down. So it's okay. So this is a way to get free of your bad ego or your bad self. It's only because of all the memories in your childhood, yes, and all those things, and then you grow up and see, I'm just the ghost, just the soul, and I can do everything I want. There's just voices in the head, but you can control it if you want, if you are achtsam, if you are in the moment.
Yes. And so tell me about that journey of being in the moment to create a new pathway, which, you know, if the fear has been guiding and creating a groove in those neural pathways for you, and it becomes the habit, and then that habit leads you to your action, and sometimes that's a fear response. Sometimes you're making an action and it's really a reaction, and the reaction is programmed by the fear. I've discovered this. Tell me about your journey in discovering this. How to overcome that fear by being in the moment.
You just need to breathe. The only thing you need to do is to breathe, and then you are under control of your voices, of yourself. But this you need to train, because if the fear is also on your body, like you stand on a big crowd for 10,000 people, like I did for my first time.
Yeah.
But I was with much energy, and so the energy, you can take the fear to get the energy to do it. It's also an option, but then you need to breathe and say everything is cool. And if you don't do this the way it is like perfect, you know in your brain, this and this would be the perfect way. Like you also talk to women and you don't, I want to have her, but I'm too shy to talk to her. Just talk to her, but maybe you are not the best one in the moment, but then you learn and learn and learn. So allow yourself to grow and don't be afraid of something. It's only just a game, but in the moment it doesn't feel like a game. In this moment it feels so fucking true. But this is so cool, because afterwards you say, okay, it was just a game, but this is afterwards. So just breathe, come back to your inner strength and to the now, and then you can do it and allow yourself to make mistakes. It's the biggest thing you can do, but our society says you don't have to do mistakes. But the mistake is the best thing you can
natural.
do. And I think in a society where we had learned that you need to do mistakes, like as you was a child and you grow up, you learn walking by falling down. So that is the way it is. But in our society it's like you have the feeling that you are not allowed to do mistakes.
Right. And that traps so many people.
Oh yes.
Because all of a sudden now you're a human who hasn't had an experience of something previously. You want to do something, you want to ask that person out, you want to go launch a business, you want to go move somewhere else, you want to learn a new language, all things that haven't been done by you as an individual yet, potentially, and you're scared of actually doing the action because you might not do it perfectly from the beginning. But then you withhold yourself from actually having the experience you want. And
it's a trap.
And it's a trap, exactly. And so it's like allowing yourself to have permission to mess up, to not look perfect, to not make it do it cleanly or the way your mind tells you it should look, and instead to be committed to just doing. Like even us, we're in Costa Rica on our own vacations, and we're like, let's do this podcast. And the podcast was born out of a conversation we had and an energy. And now we're doing it, and there's no rhyme, reason, plan, but we're allowing the energy to manifest as we just show up. And that's something that Costa Rica has been teaching me, my own journey has been teaching me, is like when you show up to the moment in life, even if you are not properly equipped in the way that you think you need to be to meet that moment, you will be given the tools, the senses, the intuitions about what is needing to be done in that moment if you show up. But if you don't give yourself the opportunity just to show up, then you can't even give yourself the possibility of messing up or gaining the thing that you actually want. And this is also something that I've discovered recently, is like in the work I do with coaching, is like a lot of people who are actually people pleasers, who are, they are actually putting their needs below the needs of others. They've been trained because of their experiences with their parents and with their growing up that mom and dad's needs are more important than mine right now, so I'm going to put my needs aside. And when that manifests as an adult, it looks like codependency. It looks like you basically trying to find yourself in others. And when you do that, you stop telling yourself the truth of what you want. And I've discovered recently is like a lot of people find it very difficult to answer the question, what do I want? And to sit with the question, what do I want, actually will tell you what your true desire is, your natural desire. And there's nothing wrong with that desire. But people have created so many stories because of their conditioning that their desires are wrong, or that there are things that they want that are not allowed.
All of the society, man.
Yeah.
It's all about the pressure and the matrix and the other people, because if you are young, you used to be trained from the school, from the teachers, since you was a little baby, you learned what you should do, what you should not do, and all those things. So there are, of course, normal things that you don't kill somebody or all those things, but that's our laws, by God. But all the matrix thing we have learned in our life, this is the biggest shit, because we are losing ourselves, and we tried, like you said before, to please other people. And what is your opinion how we can get out of this circle?
It's a movement from codependency or dependency to sovereignty or independence. And I think it stems from accountability and being able to actually first start taking accountability for the needs that are going unmet right now by you, and starting to take inventory on what do I actually need. And instead of looking to a person, looking to a quick fix as a way to get away from that gnawing feeling inside of I need this. And this is the thing, most people don't realize the simplicity of what they need. Often we need to just be seen, we need to be heard, we need to be acknowledged for what we're feeling. And sometimes those feelings have been characterized in a box of something that's not good. So anger, sadness, rage, grief, fear.
It's good or bad.
It's good or bad. And they're very natural human emotions. So the accountability first starts also with emotions. Being accountable to your emotions and what you're feeling. And not blaming someone for triggering the emotion, but learning how to be responsible at actually feeling the emotion. And when you actually start to feel your emotions, there's insight that comes out of that. There's clarity that comes out of that. What happens is most people are so scared to actually feel the feeling that is threatening them. So maybe they feel like they're unlovable, or maybe they feel like they're worthless, and that whatever they do won't amount to something being worthy. And maybe there's also this fear of being fully abandoned. Like if they show up and they are honest about who they are and the way they enjoy life and express, it'll be rejected by the people closest to them. Yes. And what this all points to is then the mind comes in to protect the individual that has those wants and needs, and it starts to create a mask that shapeshifts to navigate and avoid judgment, fear of rejection, fear of being isolated.
That's the way it is.
And so then what I've noticed is when a person goes on a journey of self-love and self-healing, it's really a journey of learning how to be completely okay with yourself, and being okay with the parts of you that are depressed, that are ashamed, that are completely terrified and don't know, and learning to create a space within yourself to be okay with those emotions, so that then you can actually pick yourself up and go to the next step. Most people don't ever get to the next step because they're terrified that if they feel this feeling, if they feel like they're unlovable and they actually feel what that feels like, that means they're going to get stuck with it. And if they get defined by, oh, you are unlovable, their biggest fear gets realized, like, no one will love me, I'll be left alone. But it's not true. It's a feeling inside you, and there's a polarity. The polarity is, on one side, I'm not lovable. On the other side, you're fully worthy of love. You're fully loved, and you're capable of receiving the fullness of that. But if you're living and your mind keeps funneling, like you said, with the grooves of fear that you're not lovable, and now look, that person doesn't like you because of this, and then it starts creating this narrative around it, you get stuck in this negative spiral within yourself of not being able to just feel the basic feeling, which it is, and releasing it. And that's really the journey I've seen through my work with clients, is that on the journey of self-love, you have to feel the darkest emotions inside you, the things that are most repressed, avoided. And when you do that, you gain so much interior space to be yourself, that then when you're sitting at a cafe and something hasn't gone your way, you're still happy being happy within yourself.
Right.
And you don't let these things stop you from being you. Because this is the fundamental thing, is that we lose ourselves first to ourselves, then to the world, then to our experiences with work and what we're trying to create. And we don't know how to reclaim ourselves. And it all goes back to listening to yourself and asking, what do I need? What do I want? And giving yourself the space without going into self-judgment that you're asking for something, to actually be kind enough to give it to yourself. Does that help? Does that answer the energy?
It's a very good answer, man.
Yeah, because it's an inner journey, and most people are scared to be honest with themselves,
because then you have to get closer to your bad energies, but we also want to feel our good energy. Maybe also because our society, I think that the society is a very big thing, because we are doing like everyone is happy because we have cars, we have, okay, here not really in this place on the second world, but in our, like, USA, Europe, Germany, Canada, and all those things. So the people look like happy, but no one talks about depression, about all these things, but on the inner side. So we have to talk more about these topics. But then you feel like when you are depressive or you have these problems, you are with it alone. But you are not alone. We are just not talking about this. And those person and those humans who get close to this road, to the inner feelings, are those who look so energetic and so really happy and so charismatic.
Yes.
But this is maybe the reason that you or me or other people who have this journey very deep going and through very much crap in their soul and bad things and sadness and all these things, but then you are very happy. Okay, not every time, but and then other people see you and they hate you for that, because you go this journey and they stopped it.
And that's the mirror effect, is like, if you're shining and being yourself authentically and you're taking up space by being yourself, that can trigger somebody else and it can scare them, because it's like intuitively they know they could be doing that, but there's a reason they're not. They're living through a certain lens, they're following certain stories that are in their head that tell them, I can't show up like that. So if Aron shows up like that or Samir shows up like that, well, I would much rather just judge them and shut it down through my own compartmentalization. Because if this is the problem with using words to characterize people, we are energy, dynamic energy. We're always changing. You can't, if you try to label someone or you try to label yourself, it's like trying to take a blanket and cover the sun, or it's trying to like use a kite to try and control the wind. And it's like, how could you ever think that something so small as a label could contain you or I? It's not possible, right? But these labels are our ways of trying to understand ourselves and other people's. And what happens is our intellect, we get lost in the identification process, that we actually stop seeing the thing in front of us. And this is what I've noticed, is like we talked about it, when you look into a person's eyes, they're just vulnerably there with you and you see them, and the eyes are the window to the soul, so you can see their expression, their life force, their energy. And if that person has been doing the work to not let their masks cover their natural energy because they're afraid or ashamed of themselves, their energy is bright, strong, it's vibrant, you feel it, you can't hide it. But that can threaten people who are living from their ego, who are consumed by their own inner shame or darkness or fears. So then the inner critic comes up and says, let me judge them, blame them, let me try and ostracize them so that I don't have to look at what it's creating in me. And that's the interesting thing about a mirror, is like, we're all mirrors for each other. We're all a possibility that then is put out, and then you can see somebody doing it and you're like, oh, if they've done it, I can do it. But it's an interesting thing with human beings, is that until something has been modeled for us, we've seen it directly, even though we know it theoretically, we won't know it's a possibility for us. So this is the thing, a lot of people in their experiences, they've been shown how to go and drive. They go and sit with a driving instructor, and then they learn, okay, this is what I do, and I face the fears, I make the mistakes, but there's a person who's done it and they're guiding me. But if it's something different, if it's becoming honest with the truth of who you are, and maybe you need to face your sadness, and your parents, your siblings, your friends all avoid sadness, and none of them show you sadness. And you need to face this sadness to get to be a part of the deeper part of yourself. You might be terrified feeling sadness because everyone will be judging you, like, why is Aron sad? Why is he like not doing the things he's normally doing? And then you'll feel immediately, oh, I'm doing something wrong because they're not doing it. So this is the thing of learning to navigate the inner world. It's difficult because so many people are avoidant of the conversation, so many people hide themselves in public, most people feel they are alone dealing with the stuff they're dealing with.
But everyone is dealing with it.
But everyone is dealing with it.
Yeah.
And that's what I've come to realize is these conversations are so important, because the more people like you and I show up and be honest about what we've gone through, how we're experiencing life, and dealing and navigating with life in the moment,
Yes.
it becomes an opportunity for someone else to hear, oh, there's a new possibility. I could actually lean into my sadness and find out there's wisdom on the other side. Or I can actually feel through my anger and start to notice my pain starts to relief in my body. There's so many incredible gifts hidden underneath these emotions, you know?
So every time you release your pain, it's something good directly, because then you get more close to your real self.
Yes.
But you have to understand that it's nothing bad.
No.
But it is so branded.
Yes, it's branded, and this is one thing I've come to learn, is that the self, the truth of who we are, is neutral. It's spacious. It's expansively inclusive. It's like if we look at the earth right now, the earth has a variety of differences. We have monasteries, but we also have child trafficking, right? Two polar opposites. But if you look at earth is neutral to both the good and the bad. We as human beings, we are little microcosms of this entire universal experience. And in our mind, we have good thoughts and bad thoughts. But who we are is neutral to both of them. And what most people get caught in is identifying with one of the thoughts. Oh no, I'm having these bad thoughts, so that means this is who I am. But they're not understanding it's like waves in the ocean. You can't stop the waves.
Right, man.
You know, they're going to keep coming. Thoughts are going to keep coming, good and bad.
Right.
And if you try to live based on a certain stream of thoughts, you're going to find it very difficult to be comfortable with yourself, because you're going to keep seeing a flow of every type of thought. Instead, notice that you're the one watching those thoughts, and the one that's watching those thoughts is neutral to every thought, which is why you're aware of all of the thoughts, all the contrast. And this is something that I've seen is the key to people learning to be able to create space within themselves, is to actually be able
Watch
to
the
watch.
thoughts.
To watch,
It's very good. So you have to get not so close to your thoughts. You have to be a big way off of it. Just watch it, because you are not your thoughts. Because your thoughts depends on your life, on your cultural approachment. I think it's the right word.
Conditioning, approachment.
And all of the things. So your thoughts are not you. Your thoughts are your ego, your mask, and your brain. So it's a big difference.
And how interesting, though, that we can talk about that, but yet we still get caught in our thoughts.
Yeah, right.
And this is the unique thing about this journey inward, is it requires your own self-awareness. Your own attention needs to be on observing, where am I watching from right now? And I think most people get so in the flow of their own thoughts, the momentum just carries them so far out that when they have finally, if they have a negative spiral or something goes off and they get angry and emotionally thrown off, they don't know how to come back to just being the watcher, because the thoughts have had so much power.
Yes, you are so deeply in this moments then that it's such a big problem to get out of there. But then you just need to breathe again. And you are not directly out there, because all the emotions you are very in there. But after a while you can learn that that's all a game, and you don't take it so extremely serious, and just learn from this, because nothing from those things happened to you for a bad reason. But we think, oh, the gym was closed, that's so bad, so that you are then fat again. It's not the fault of the gym, because then you can make sports in just in front of the gym. You can go there sit-ups,
there's always another choice,
handstand and like all these things. So it is no problem, because you have every time a different option, but then the universe is like testing you if you really want to have this or not. But I think the most interesting point is that you can learn to watch your thoughts or to watch your words while you are talking. So the meditation is one very good thing, but it's not depends like you are at your home and then you can be very quiet and you can watch your thoughts. That's very good, but this only exercise for all of the situations you are in there, because then you need to watch your thoughts, and that you are not the person, that you are only the player. So so it looks like you are the first person view, but you are the third person watching yourself doing the stuff, and that you have to take you out of this situation, and this really good help, I think. So in the last year I was like 20 times I was paying money at the market, but my card every time was empty. So it was my own fault, because I know I have money problems, but I don't look up my online banking to look, okay, how many money I have, is it good? I think, okay, everything will be fine, man. Just go in there, and the most of the time it works very well, but sometimes it doesn't work so good. And then the first 3 or 4 times it was so bad for me. This was all in this 2 years now since the pandemic and all the things started. And then the first 3 or 4 times I was so, all the people looking at me, I have to feeling bad and all these things, and I say, hey, sorry, but it's normal, because they don't know that it happens to me every time. They just know, okay, it's a bad people because he don't have money and he stole my time. But then I think afterwards I was home, hey, nothing really happened, so it's everything is fine. No, but why not fine at the moment? And then at the 7th time, 8th time, 12th time, so it happened to me very often, but it's okay, because I was thinking it's like an exercise of the matrix. And then I was stand there at the 8 times and say sorry, and everything is fine. So I say sorry because I have to, sorry because I steal their time a little bit, but then everything is fine. I talk to the people, and I have not this inner stress in me, so I take me out of the situation. Okay, and this I learned to do this in every time I need this, that you can take you out of it, and you are in this, and you have to handle the situation. This is right, but then you have to get out of it.
Yeah, very important point. So when you're in the stress, to pull your attention out of it and be that observer, and that takes practice, where the stimulation of some situation or event that triggers you, gets you angry, gets you stressed, gets you embarrassed, whatever the emotion is that gets triggered, and you get lost in that, and you can get frazzled and kind of just caught up in that moment. Or you can practice pulling yourself out in that moment, using that stressful situation to realize, whoa, wait, where am I in this? Yes, this thing has happened, this event has occurred, I don't have money in my account, I'm embarrassed, I'm stressed, I want to move forward and not have all these people looking at me. But you can also pull your attention even one step further to be like, and that's okay. I'm okay not having that. And at one moment, I'm going to be back home, and I just won't have got the things. And in pulling it's like pulling the cord from underneath the threat that the mind is giving, because the mind is creating all this pressure of like, don't let this bubble pop, because if this bubble pops, what is it going to mean? And people get scared on the what if. What will it mean if you go and ask that person out and they reject you? That what if scares you so much that you don't go and take the action. In this situation, that what if might mean you just pick up your stuff and you leave the store, and you're frazzled, and you get home and you're raging through the road because you haven't pulled yourself out. So to pull yourself up out of the mind and the fear it creates, what are some ways that you've allowed yourself?
Because you are so stupid in this moment, because every one of the row is just waiting there for you. This happens to them also in their life. And when there is when I stand there and I was watching the same situation with another person, I would say, hey, can I help you? Everything is fine. So I say, hey, you don't need to stress. Because every time I see at the supermarket, the people in front of me are packing so fast all the things, and they don't look other people in the face like this, because they don't want the other people to wait. So I say, hey, chill, man, everything's fine. And this is so nice, because you creating a safer space, and everyone is wishing the self for you, but I don't know. So and when there is someone who say, oh, you have to move faster, then his meaning is meaningless. His opinion is meaningless, because he don't know that he doesn't know that the same thing happens to him also.
Yeah.
And when he's angry, then you can just say you are a NPC, you're a non-player character, and your meaning is just your stress, but that's not my problem. So don't take the problem from other people to you.
Yeah. And that's what happens. You can do that if you slow down. And what I've noticed is also people who are caught in their own programming, they're just going from one moment to the next, and they're just on an autopilot. And
autopilot.
And that's what I would call being unconscious, or what you described NPC. It's really an unconscious trait of it's like when you're driving, and sometimes you're driving, and then all of a sudden you're home, and you're like, wait, how did I just get home?
Yes.
And it's because your body and the conditioning is master driving, so much so that you've become relaxed enough to just get lost in your own thoughts. And that's what points to how deep our attention can get lost in our mind, and we can lose track of the now. So that if some person cuts in front, or a person starts walking in front of the road, you would get startled by the new stimulation, and you would come out of your thoughts in the car and quickly brake or honk the horn. Or then you might get angry that this person came out of nowhere and interrupted my own loss of attention from the now. I'm angry at this person for interrupting it. But this is the whole conversation, to either live in the now where you can make choices and respond to situations, or to live from your programming and to just be reacting. And basically that conversation of you give your power to someone else or something else, that then they have the power over you, that if they do something that you don't approve of, you're going to be thrown off emotionally, and this is a conversation when we talk about consciousness of reclaiming your power, your ability to make choices. And you do that by no longer, quote unquote, falling asleep at the wheel in your life, by actually becoming a driver again in your life experience. But that requires presence. It requires you being attentive to the moment, so you can see what is happening in this interaction. Is the cashier stressed? Well, maybe I have a choice to ease her stress by saying, don't worry about it, and showing her you're not in a rush. And that is, I've seen that in the same interaction you described, and it is mind-blowing to see how people are living in this rush that exists in their mind, but it doesn't necessarily exist out here. People make it exist out here. But if you choose to slow down,
really exist.
It doesn't really exist.
And so this I learned the last 2 years, because I don't wearing a mask wherever I am, because I study medicine, and the mask is okay. You can do it in the operation room as you are a doctor or so. You can do this, but the mask for me is a very good thing, because we are here. So what is your thing? I was thinking that here in Costa Rica, in the second world, something like this, the people don't wearing masks so often, or that they are waiting on the bus outside, and they are also wearing the mask outside of the bus. Not only inside, so also outside. And this was a really new for me, because I think in Germany and Europe and USA and those things, it's okay because they have so much media and all those things. But it was for you also a surprise, or
it was honestly it was somewhat of a breath of fresh air, because in Canada and in Ontario specifically, there was so much fear as a result of the news, that the fear was so high that people were operating in that automatic pilot as a result of fear, because it activates that primal reptilian brain in us. So their nervous system is scared, right? And when you're scared, you're more vigilant, and you're also more prone to being irritated and attacking if somebody goes against or triggers that fear deeper in you.
Yes.
But when I came to Costa Rica, I noticed that it was calmer, because, like you said, it's not flooded with the same news and media here around the pandemic, which reaffirms the fear in people's minds over in the West. But here I notice people are they're doing their thing. They're in the present moment. People aren't obsessed with their phones here. And because they're not obsessed with their phones, they're not obsessed with what the current world events are or the next thing to be scared of. So they're living their lives. It's beautiful out. You're more present to nature. So my experience coming to Costa Rica was that things were a little bit more laid back. people were a little bit more at ease when it came to the restrictions and all that stuff, and it allowed people to connect more authentically with other people. In Canada, I found with the pandemic, you couldn't just go say hi to people. People were all in their shells, heads down. You're shopping in Costco, your head is down, you've got your mask on, just get your stuff and get out.
So here, people do the same stuff like they're wearing a mask, but they do the same stuff like every time.
Yes. And here what I've noticed is people still look at you with their eyes. They're smiling at you through their eyes, even if they're wearing a mask. And most people now, like, it's pretty normal here, like the masks are pretty much done. And the biggest thing I've noticed is people aren't living in the fear of what if this thing happens again? We should all be scared. People are living their lives.
Everything is fine.
And that's something that I've really appreciated since coming here. And I think part of why I've also extended my time is realizing this living in the moment is a real lifestyle when you find there's a whole other social community functioning from that point of view. In Canada, it's very go, do. And that also creates an inner anxiety of like, if you're not doing something, somehow you're moving backwards. But here, I've spoken to a lot of people and I've also had to learn it, and there's nothing wrong in doing nothing. Doing nothing is actually a state of being. It's our natural state. Right. But because we've been so conditioned in the West through our intellect to be doing, creating, moving forward, living in the future, there is somehow a disdain to just sit, chill, and do nothing. Somehow that's categorized or labeled as lazy or unproductive. And then you think, oh, there's something wrong with me if I just want to be. If I just want to relax. And yet, what I've discovered here is it's one of the most rejuvenating, natural states to function from, because when you're being, you don't have to live in that inner anxiety. You can actually breathe.
You're just at the actual moment.
You're in the actual moment. And when you're in the actual moment, you have connections with people, you can be authentic, and it's just such a peaceful way to live. And it's like, why isn't everyone doing this? And you realize people are distracted. You know, there's a lot of distraction, and a lot of people are distracted from they're distracting themselves from their own pain. They're distracting themselves and numbing themselves to the external world. So they're just moving. I need pleasure, short dopamine hits. Give me this, give me that, as a way to move away from the lingering pain I'm feeling. Whether it's trauma or childhood stuff, or just the pandemic was a trauma and they just don't know how to deal with it. So short-term fix. And a lot of people turn to workaholism, or they turn to substance use or some form of toxic relationship as the gateways to giving them some kind of excitement in their life. But it's really a distraction from the thing that they need to face. And if they faced it, there would be growth in their world. But that growth is challenging. And I'm sure you experience this too. Between leaving Germany to come to Costa Rica, you were probably challenged. And I'm curious to ask, you're getting ready to go back soon. What has been the biggest takeaways from you in this journey of coming to Costa Rica to take back with you to Germany? What are some of the biggest takeaways for you?
Takeaways like, what is the biggest... lessons, yes. So, for me, it is the biggest information that all over the world, the humans are exactly the same, and we could use our biggest TV and media and social media. And you are completely right, because TikTok is like you getting all like short dopamine shots, and we are so used to it. And we could all use the social media to play the new consciousness to all the humans on the world. But then is for me the question why we don't do this, why we don't play, because these are very old things, because every child is growing up is like a free soul, and then after the years and a baby in Costa Rica, a baby in Canada, and baby in Germany is different after 5 years. But when it was born, it's everywhere the same. What happens in this 5, 10 or 20 years? And this very big miracle, I think, and that we have to learn, that our information plays different realities. And since Corona and since the pandemic and all things, I really hope that we can wake up all over the world and use our big power, because we have so much power to make the world a real better place. And so it's so good to meet people all over the world who are so consciousness and so real, and they see that we need a big change here. And for me, what I want to take with me to Germany is just like go on my road to be myself and to search in my. So, for instance, this podcast. So, my English is okay, but I'm not used to talk in a good way on English that my consciousness directly with the brain is connected and to make it all to the outside. It's very hard for me. Okay, but man, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do this podcast, no problem. And this is what I take with me to go forward, and it doesn't matter what people think, what this thinks, because it's just a dream, and you have only the actual moment. Everything in the future or past, okay, you have to care about your future. It's very important, and you have to care about it's also like now in the actual moment you have to care. This is right, but if you don't care, it makes no sense that you are anxiety and say what can happen now. You work for it or you just chill, but not all the time in the past or in the future. This is, I think, I take with me, and that is so crazy because people all over the world are the same, and this is so good. And you find here in these places new humans with a new spirit, and also like very angry people like all over the world. So everyone is the same.
Yeah, well said. And your English is very good, man. Like I told you that,
bro.
it's like we've been having this conversation, and it's been such a flow. But something I've noticed as well since coming here is that exactly what you said, we are way more similar than we are different. And the fundamentals of heart, body, mind, spirit, that is universal, and we all face our lives. We all have to deal with pain. We've all had to deal with hurt. And it's the way that we channel who we choose to be in amidst that really determines the quality of our life going forward. And I think one of the core lessons that, a lot of our listeners are probably getting from this too is like there is power in the present moment. And when we keep saying the word wake up and, people are waking up, some people may or may not be aware of what that is. And, when we talk about it, like when you're having a nightmare or you're sleeping at night and a tiger is chasing you, right? And in that moment, you're running. You're living in the momentum of this tiger is chasing me. I see it. I'm experiencing it.
Right.
And then boom, when you woken up, you realize
only dream. Okay.
Whoa! And to realize it's only a dream, you woke up to realize the fear that was causing you to run is gone.
And that's the same thing like in the supermarket when you don't have money.
Yes.
The first 3 times I was there, it was a big dream. Oh, fuck all the people, because somebody also like could say, hey man, you're so stupid. It never happens, but it could be. Or that some say, oh, you're so dumb, it happened again. These things could happen, but it didn't happen. So, but then you wake up, and the 5th time and 8th time, so I enjoy the 20 times I don't have money with me in the supermarket. So I have money, but I'm just too lazy to organize it. And in this actual moment, the 7th time or the 8th times, I wake up in the actual moment, and I was thinking, hey man, let's enjoy this. So you say this one, okay, sorry, and you do this one, and you say, oh, okay, I go home. Thank you very much. Please do my package for what I have bought there. Please put it in the corner. I will come, then I go to my home, I will pick up the money, and then I come back in 8 or 10 minutes and this one. And so I was enjoying it because it was a dream. Like you was sleeping in the night and you see the tiger is running after you, but say, it's just a dream. Okay, let's run.
And it's a dream. And so when you realize, when you've woken up in the morning and the tiger isn't there, you have a choice. Do you stay scared, or do you wake up to the moment? It was never real. And this is what we mean by waking up and people waking up. People are waking up from their own fear and their own limitations. And for the audience here, you yourself are probably going through an awakening in the course of what this last 2 years has been. No one is the same as a result. We've all had to face ourselves, face life, and ask harder questions like, what do I want out of this life? Who do I want to be? Who am I? And what I've come to journey and realize here in Quepos and Costa Rica and in this timeline is like, there's other people who are navigating life in that same way and becoming so much more in tune with the moment and life, that you have spontaneous synchronistic interactions like myself and you, Aaron,
right,
where we've literally only known each other. This is our third interaction now, and it's like, what? Like,
I can feel the complete actual, like also on the video or something like this, but I can feel that we are one. So I can feel that if you are talking, if everything, I can feel that that nothing is separating us.
Yes. Yeah.
That there's only one moment.
Yes.
This is crazy.
Yeah. And that's the beauty. And I think that is the saving grace that actually connects us as humans and allows us as humanity to move forward as we go through whatever the next years look like. Because we need people to realize we are connected. We're on the same playing field. We're on the same ground of life and being. And we can deal with the inner struggle, but we need to not separate and divide using these labels and compartmentalizations to separate people in boxes. We need people to have these kind of conversations and realize different backgrounds, different genders, realities can come together in the present moment, and there's power in that. And that has been the blessing of this conversation. And Aaron, I'm so glad that you came, took this time. I'm glad that we got to have this dialogue, and I'm so grateful that life coordinated this, because this was a result of a spontaneous dialogue with life, and neither of us planned it. We didn't plan how this podcast would turn out, but I'm so glad we did it, man. And I appreciate you, and I'm so glad. And
thank you, bro.
Is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, bro, I thank you very much. It is for me a good thing, because I never make something on like English, and so it's very good. And I hope that we have a great awakening all over the world, and a great reset also, like everything is completely new on the world, because we, with the animals, with the humans, everything on this world is so bad, because we killing animals for eating, and our clothes are from children in Bangladesh and all those things. So we need to change something that is really true, and I think that we are the people who can change it. So we are the change.
We are.
This is very important for me.
Yeah. Pura Vida, my guy. This has been a blessing, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we connect in the future. And this was the beginning of a big blessing. So I'm grateful to you, Aaron.
Thank you very much, bro.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for joining us today on another episode of Wisdom with Him. And be sure to check out both our YouTube channels as we get the videos uploaded. And to the German audience from Aaron's side, Pura Vida. And I hope to connect with you again in the near future. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you.